You're working again. So long as I'm president, I'll never stop fighting for policies that will help restore home values, to redeem the investment that folks have made. We've seen some of those values return in some places, in some pockets, but it's still tough out there. We're going to have to do more this year to make sure that banks are responsive to folks who are working hard, have been paying their mortgage, but have found themselves in a tough situation. I'm not going to stop fighting to give our kids the best education possible, to take the tens of billions of dollars we pay banks to act as middlemen on student loans and invest that money in students who actually need it. We don't need the middlemen. Cut them out. I won't stop fighting to give every American a fair shake. That's why the very first bill I signed into law was the Lilly Ledbetter Act to uphold the principle of equal pay for equal work for men and women alike, especially when families need 2 paychecks to survive. So long as I'm president, I won't stop fighting to protect you from the kinds of deceptive practices we've seen from some in the financial sector. That's why I signed a credit card bill of rights into law to protect you from surprise charges and retroactive rate hikes and other unfair rules. That's why I'm fighting for a tough consumer financial protection agency to protect you against those hidden overdraft fees that can make a single ATM withdrawal cost $30. Say, that happened to you, didn't it? I won't stop fighting to open up government. Now, this is hard to do because we don't control every branch. But I can tell you, we have put in place the toughest ethics laws and toughest transparency rules of any administration in history. In history. By the way, this is the first administration since the founding of the country where all of you can find out who visits the White House. First time in history. And that's just one example of how we're trying to constantly open up the process. And so long as I'm president, I won't stop fighting to cut waste and abuse in Washington, to eliminate what we don't need, to pay for what we do, to rein in exploding deficits that we've been accumulating not just last year, but for the last 10. Now, and I'm going to keep on fighting for real, meaningful health insurance reform. We expanded the Children's Health Insurance Program to include 4 million kids. We already did that. But we are also going to fight to hold the insurance industry accountable, to bring more stability and security to folks who are in our healthcare system. And yes, I want to make sure that people who don't have healthcare right now can get some. It's shameful that we don't do that. Now, these are some of the fights we've already had, and I can promise you there will be more fights ahead. I'm not going to win every round. But we're having a fight right now because I want to charge Wall Street a modest fee to repay taxpayers in full for saving their skins in a time of need. We want our money back. We want our money back. And we're going to get your money back every dime. Each and every dime. But it's going to be a fight. You watch. I guarantee you, when we start on financial regulatory reform, trying to change the rules to prevent what has caused so much heartache all across the country, there are people who are going to say, why is he meddling in government? Why is he meddling in the financial industry? It's another example of Obama being big government. No, I just want to have some rules in place so that when these guys make dumb decisions, you don't end up having to foot the bill. That's pretty straightforward. I don't mind having that fight. You know, I said at the beginning how much it means to me to be able to travel this country and how much it means for me to be here. And that is true now more than ever. Because there is no doubt that it's easy to get a pretty warped view of things in Washington. But then you start talking to the guys working on those machines, creating products all across the country. You go into the diner and you meet folks who are raising their kids and working hard and trying to keep things together. And I'm reminded of the strength and the resilience and the perseverance of the American people. I'm reminded of the fundamental character of the Americans that I'm so privileged to serve. It's that character that has borne our nation through the roughest of seas, a lot rougher than the ones we're going through right now. That's the character that will carry us through this storm to better days ahead. I am confident of that because of you. And I'm very grateful for all of you taking the time to be here today. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's take some questions. You guys, everybody sit down. Sit back down. All right. So I'm just going to call on people. We're going to do girl, boy, so that there's no accusations of bias. We'll try to get as many questions in as we can. All right? This young lady right back here. Yeah, you. Should be a microphone. Wait till the mic comes so everybody can hear you. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. I'll call on you next. Well, one of you ask a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be here with you today. I work here in LCC's Financial Services office. I am proud to be part of finding pathways for students to attend college. I feel that a college education is a lifeline to the future of our citizens. We greatly appreciate the increase in the Pell Grant, in which allowed our neediest students to access a college education. It increased buying power as college costs continued to rise. My question to you is, will your administration support continued increases to the Pell Grant so that our neediest students have access to higher education?
The answer is yes. I want everybody to understand, we made, and this was with the help of members of Congress who are here, made an enormous investment in higher education, making sure that young people could afford to go to great institutions like this. So we significantly increased the level of each Pell Grant, and we also put more money so that we could have more Pell Grants. Now, we want to continue to do this. I mentioned during my formal remarks the fact that a lot of banks and financial institutions are still serving as middlemen in the financial aid process, and they take out several $1 billion worth of profits from that. It turns out that actually it can be administered in such a way where these loans go directly to the students. And if you do that, then you're saving several $1 billion that can then be put back into the system. We want to get that finalized. We want to get that done. That will be an enormous boost. Now, one thing I have to say, though, even as we put more money into the student loan program, we are also trying to reach out to university presidents and administrators to figure out how can we reduce the inflation in higher education. Because the fact is that the only thing that has gone up faster in cost than healthcare is, guess what? Higher education. And the problem is, if we're not thinking about ways to curb the inflation, then even if we put more money in, what that money's buying becomes less and less. And so trying to find creative ways for universities to do more with less is going to be important. Now, in fairness to universities and colleges, part of the reason they've been having to jack up their costs is they used to get more support from the state. State budgets got into a hole, and then it became harder, and so they had to make it up on the tuition side. Nevertheless, what is also true, though, is just their general costs of operating have gone up in ways that I think we can improve. So we're going to be working on that as well. All right? Okay, I've got to call a gentleman, then I got to go back to you because you thought that I called on you, and I feel bad. All right.